Good morning, folks. Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for another Legacy stream. Today's stream is sponsored by Hyperlink, who has donated to see Grixis Control in action. And they sent me a recent 5.0 deck list, and I edited it a little bit. So, talking through the process briefly, I wanted another finisher in the deck because one of Grixis Control's biggest weaknesses, generally speaking, is that it's really slow at closing out games. If you're attacking with like Baleful Strix and Snapcaster mages, like sometimes it takes you 10 turns to close out a game. And sometimes just having access to a Gurmag Angler and going like 5U, 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 you're dead is just a really useful tool. And then Minifer came in right as I was booting up the stream and recommended Cling to Dust. And I think this was a really smart choice, because how does this deck answer Uro well? Oh no, a creature that can repeatedly come back and give card advantage is a huge problem for the deck, and so I like this Cling to Dust as a way to help fight Uro, and maybe give you a little more game against some things that could be problematic in game one, like say a Punishing Fire, or a Life from the Loam, or a graveyard-based combo deck, or something. Stealing those wins there can be pretty important. A lot of what we see is pretty traditional for the deck. I do want to highlight the spicy Valky, God of Lies, which we're trying to play in a fair way instead of an unfair way. We'll see how that does. Um, my gut says that this is probably closer to bad than good, but Grixis Control is a deck that will legitimately make it to 7 mana in a lot of games before it's won, so maybe we can actually cast the backside of this once or twice in this league. The sideboard is mostly trying to shore up some game 1 weaknesses with things like Plague Engineer, for hordes of small creatures, just one of the best sideboard cards in the format right now. Of course, outside of things like Carpet of Flowers, which is just like going to the moon. It's just so good. We have Pyroblast for the blue decks, and then a handful of things like Surgicals, Thoughtseize, Narset, Flusterstorm for the unfair stuff. And when I got this donation, I was given a little extra to put that special Phil touch on it. And what that meant to me was, Phil, you have my permission to add one bad and questionable card to the deck list. And so the card that I chose was Keranos, which is probably borderline unplayable by Legacy standards, since it costs 5 mana and gets hit by Pyroblast, but it's such a powerful effect once it's actually in play. It's great against creature decks, it's great against control decks, and it's relatively hard to answer, since it is indestructible. It basically takes a Council's Judgment to answer that. I've played against Grixis Control a handful of times. It feels like a good deck, like a good, solid, like tier maybe 1.5 choice. But I do feel like a lot of the Uro-based decks end up being better control decks than it. And so this league will try to get a feel for whether, like, Culligan's Command, like Snapcaster Mage loops end up feeling better than that Uro-based stuff. I'm not sure that they will, but I find these sorts of decks pretty enjoyable, and we'll see how this one plays out. For the folks watching on YouTube, if you would throw me a like real quick before we get started with the rounds, I would really appreciate that. It helps with my stats and analytics a lot, and my videos on YouTube have just been exploding recently. So thank you for those of you who have been doing that little thing to support me. It means a lot. Okay, I will be keeping this hand. It's not overly exciting, but I have like 2 cantripping things in it, and I'm on the play. I will be fetching a basic island on turn 1, though, so that I don't get got if my opponent is playing a Stifle deck. Stifle is a very real part of the format right now. It's quite good. This is something that we talked about on the Eternal Glory podcast this week. Would love basic swamp here, kind of. I have enough land that, like, getting wastelanded is not the end of the world, and I really like how this hand is looking. Dismember. That's fine. Okay. I don't think that's worth the Force of Negation since the Baleful Strix itself cantrips and can also answer the Delver. A second follow-up Wasteland would be extremely good against me, though. I mean, Hyperlink, the weather is great here. I'm in a t-shirt right now. I haven't worn a t-shirt in a long time. Another Dismember? Wow. I think this hand is good enough that this is acceptable. If my opponent is playing a Death Shadow variant, I want to have this Liliana's Triumph or a Death Shadow instead. It's like, they've been very aggressive with their life total. They've dealt 8 points of damage to themselves. Sticking with the logic that I was just talking about, I think I'm going to K command on my opponent's upkeep. Nope. It's been a while since I've used this card. Alright. I want to deal 2 damage to any target, return a creature card. So I return a Baleful Strix, 2 damage to that. No! Alright. Starting to get a little spooked. Now I probably need to go ahead and play this Liliana's Triumph on my turn, so that I can follow up Gurmag Angler afterwards. I don't like this pause. So my opponent has answered Strix Force of Negation, Strix K command. Alright, thing number 5 finally worked. Let's play a Gurmag Angler, and I think I play it around days. 1, 2, 3. I'm fine with 4. I can leave one thing in graveyard. I'll leave a K command in graveyard. And play Angler around days. Whew! Alright, so they chose not to protect their Delver there. Alright. This current board probably favors me. I'm going to counter that. They don't have a creature right now. I feel pretty confident about that. I'm going to take this 1-for-1 trade on a turn where I have all 5 mana up and can train that clearly, because if I top deck a reasonable card, I would just like to play that reasonable card and not hold up Force of Will mana. Holy shit. Nice. I will probably wait to play this until I have some soft mana available to play around things like Spell Pierce. Don't mind a fatal push. Do I want to hold Strix back to protect from Brazen Borrower? I think I do. Nah. I have 2 removal spells. My Narset gets eaten, my Narset gets eaten. It's like he knows. So now we can kill that because we have Revolt. Oh, my lights are flickering a little bit. I hope the stream doesn't go down. That's look good on the Streamlabs end. Alright, let's attempt the 2-for-1 here. Let's try to get back Gurmag Angler and make you discard a card. The way Fatal Push is worded, it's if you had a permanent leave the battlefield. Right, what did they discard? They discarded a land, so they have 1 card left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If I'm willing to play into Daze, I just jam this. I think that's fine. Like, I just want to keep this pressure up. I'm ahead in terms of, like, both tempo and resources and life total. And I want to continue pushing on that axis. Alright, what sort of removal spells do I have? Braids, Pyroblasts, Plague Engineers, K Commands, also technically Keranos. I have so many things that I can board in here. Alright, I don't want Cling to Dust. I probably don't want the life loss associated with Thoughtseize. Valky is probably suspect. And I can consider trimming some number of force effects. Nagizero. Oh, maybe Nagi0Ew? Thank you very much for following. And Jason Didu, thank you very much for following as well. Alright, I'm not sure exactly where I want to start with trimming, like Force of Will versus Force of Negation. I want to keep some of them because I think they're better in blue matches than they used to be. I want this K command. I want this Abrade. Take out Force of Negation. 1 Jace, 2 Force of Will. You can see that. I get all of these. We play the Keranos. Take out all Force of Negations. I can put 2 more cards back into the deck if I do this. Yeah, I guess like the hard casting mode isn't particularly great. I could also play the Flusterstorm. Narset is maybe medium. I think Keranos on the draw is probably too ambitious. I think I'll play it on the play. Yeah. This is too many Force of Wills. This is too much card disadvantage. Not enough land. I do not like this hand. This one at least has multiple removal spells. I'll keep this one. I think the Gurmag Angler goes back here. And I'm gonna want to try to play around Stifle to the best of my ability. But I also have to play around Wasteland. So we'll see where that ends up putting us. Well, that's not bad. I think I am comfortable fetching a basic island around a Stifle. Whiteboard, well, welcome. That's what the Saturday morning streams are for. They're to let people in different time zones actually, like, hang out, have a good time. All right, so we'll try to Fatal Push that on our turn, and if that doesn't work out, we can go for something else later. Like, we have a Play Engineer, we have a K command, we have more Fatal Pushes. This Delta currently needs to get red mana. I don't want to get Wastelanded yet, so I think I'm just going to play basic Swamp and Fatal Push that. Nice. We have True Name Nemesis potentially answered. So that's cool. Ooh, hoo, hoo, hoo. Want a Braid to answer that? Hey. I also have Angrath's Rampage. Yeah, I'm just a little nervous about like using the K command on that. I don't think I get to cast K command this turn. I don't think I get to cast anything at this turn. All right. So this is the question. Like, do I fetch now and attempt K command now? Do I wait? Like, waiting gives them one more mana, which makes the Flusterstorm worse. I don't feel great about doing all of this yet. Like, I can also just run into, like, Stifle-based problems. I really like Tarn. So we made our land drop for the turn. Quick check. Do I have 2 basic islands? I do have 2 basic islands. Alright, fetching is awkward. God, this fetch is so awkward. It's like, if I fetch first with this, and this gets stifled, I get red mana, but I can't fight back with Fluster. If I fetch first with this, and this gets stifled, in order to get red mana, I have to fetch a non-basic. Go to my turn. God, that was a fucking heads-up play from Samu. They let me get the island, and then didn't let me get the mountain. And my Fluster doesn't currently counter this. Alright. I think I now try to K-command with Fluster backup, now that they've already cast one spell. I'll beat... I won't beat a pitch counter with Flusterstorm, but I'll beat, like, Spell Pierce. Ah... Not gonna do it. I'm gonna wait. Like, they don't have a creature yet. Second swamp. You have second swamp. I'm fine with not having red. Yes. I will play this, though. I don't mind that. Alright, I don't need this stop anymore. Let's just fight. And I will not be playing this Volcanic Island. I'll eventually use this to cast a Culligan's Command. Probably. That's fine. I can Fatal Push that on some other turn. Is this bait to enable Fatal Push? Nah. We're gonna hang out. Like, my opponent needs to have something a little weird, like a Forked Bolt, to, like, really profitably end up ahead here. Now I kind of need to play something. I have one counterspell backup for a K command. I don't think that's enough. Like, I'm having a little bit of trouble getting a read on what they actually have, because they're not actually fighting back against anything I'm doing. That kind of makes me think there's something like a stifle involved. Ice Cream Lesbian, I don't want to tap that many lands. 3, 6, 7 in hand. So I'm fine with just passing the turn. Sure. All right. Brainstorm and try to make a land drop, or just drop Plague Engineer. I'd just like to keep making land drops. I don't want my second Plague Engineer right now. It's a little mana intensive. Honestly, the same is probably also true of this Narset, which will also just get Pyroblasted. Island, Island, Swamp, Swamp, Mountain. This fetches a non-basic. That's fine. Sure. All right. I don't really want to get stifled. Wasteland is also a touch annoying. I don't really want those cards that are on top of my library. Fake fight? Nah. Let that go. I'll redraw one of those cards. And I'm going to make a play here, I think, in an attempt to get them to use some of their things. I'm going to try to get a little aggressive with this. Like, since I have just so many bombs here, and like Plague Engineer is coming as well, I'm going to try to get some stuff out of their hand. I was hoping to get more than days out of that. That's okay. Two stifles have been used. Let's pass. That's a little weird. I guess that's happening. Okay. Sure. Base. I'm gonna jam this. We've already seen 2 dazes. I am valuing my clock over my cards here. Alright, all 4 dazes. I have a Gurmag Angler now. That is not great for me. Okay, it'll be fine. They're out of dazes now. But a Lightning Bolt's pretty bad. Rough. Alright, that's fine. I do need to close out game 3 quickly, which means I'm going to bring in any and all threats that I have. So Keranos can come in. I only have one answer to Winter Orb, which is pretty rough. Well, alright, I have the K commands and then one additional answer, more accurately. And I know my opponent has multiple. This is fine. I'm gonna grab a basic swamp on turn 1. I'd prefer more lands. I'd prefer to have some cantrips to smooth things out in the beginning, but this is okay. I just spent too much time thinking through lines earlier on in that game, and I didn't have time to spend on lines in the later game, and I made a couple of decisions that were clock oriented that were bad decisions, and I got punished for them. Oh, I forgot about the rampage. Thank you, Setai. Big Leaf, not new tech. Like that's tech that has existed for a long time, but it's coming back now. I was thinking about that, man. Alright. I have not a swift win condition, but I have a win condition in play. I'm gonna remove this stop for now. Smells kind of like Stifle. I'm making this play for clock reasons, not because I believe it is the correct play. I guess I should have attacked with Plague Engineer. Plague Engineer doesn't block Brazen Borrower. Ult into Stifle? Like, if I wait a turn, I can play around some stuff, potentially. And, like, keep the Lily on board. Okay, so I Flusterstorm. And that's only a Spell Pierce. Okay, so that doesn't actually counter it. Fine. Couldn't play Strix first because of the mana, but I could have untapped Volcanic Island, but then they would have wastelanded. Dismember is kind of awkward for my opponent. Be especially awkward once I have a Flusterstorm available. Okay, I guess now they could technically hardcast it, but that's a little rough. Three days is used. I probably won't play Baleful Strix around days next turn, especially with 54 seconds on clock. Don't mind that at all. The moto lag here is a little noticeable. And F6, I need this Flusterstorm available in case my opponent has Lightning Bolt. Alright, that should be the win. Ooh, little close for comfort there. Obviously, there were any number of ways to play this match better that I did not do. A, because I was streaming and was partially distracted, and B, because clock. Alright, round two, my opening hand is a little suspect. I have Force of Will, but no blue cards. I have no real opening plays. But I think almost all of my draws are good. I'm gonna go ahead and mulligan this one. Like let's keep something safer in game one. Yeah, I agree. I think Bant is better than Grixis. I'm not sure if blue-white is better than Grixis. I think those decks are probably of comparable power levels. I don't know if I was supposed to lead on Swamp or Island there. I think both are justifiable for different reasons. Like, if I leave Swamp open, I can Cling to Dust and cycle that. Do I care about any of this enough to brainstorm? I do, because, like, Watery Grave indicates Death Shadow. Against this deck, what do I want? I want Baleful Strix. That will be my top card. I'll play it this turn. And then do I want to shuffle away land 4? I think so. I think I want land 4. I guess land 4 is okay with Cling to Dust. Sure. We got a Brazen Borrower. Ooh. Got himmed. Might get to see Cling to Dust do some serious work here. Four cards? 5 cards. 5 cards. I'll leave a Strix for K command based reasons. That's fine. Like, I got a card from my opponent for free there. Excuse me? This is legal? We're allowed to do this again? Oh, man. Been a while since that happened. I have good sideboarding options. Like, Engineer is really nice for more Death Touchers. I probably want some number of pyroblasts. Like, I need to respect the stupid whale. Ethereal Forager, in particular. Don't know how I feel about Toxic Deluge. I don't think I like it. Like, the Death Shadows in particular get too big for Toxic Deluge to be good in a lot of situations, but at the same time, my red-based removal only kills Death Shadows when they're small. So yeah. Alright, I don't love Cling here. Valky is probably too awkward most of the time. I probably don't want Force of Negations. I think I like Jace a little bit better here than in the previous round. So far this gets me Plague Engineer, Fluster, a Braid, a Blast. I want more Pyroblasts. Like, I need to respect that whale. I've been seeing play in a lot of the Death Shadow lists. At the same time, like, I want some number of forces so I can be a little bit pickier with what happens with him to Torox. Also, Keranos probably just like 2-turn clocks my opponent. I probably will play that on the play. Go down 1 force for 1 Pyroblast. I don't know, K-Command just returning Baleful Strix is really good. Let's get that in there somehow. I have not played Historic since they injected a handful of new cards into the format, so I don't have any strong opinions, but off the top of my head, seems reasonable. Like, when I think Death Shadow, I don't think, oh, that's too good for Historic. I think, like, Goblins go wide of that. There's Uro decks well, I guess there's not Uro decks everywhere anymore. Alright, what are my mana thingies doing? Basic Island, basic Swamp. If I do that, I can't Pyroblast something like a Delver immediately. Maybe I'm getting non-basics this game. I'm going to play Tarn and pass and hope I don't have to Pyroblast. Goblins disappeared? Oh, that's super weird. Goblins felt so good. Oh, like maybe it made itself out to be too much of a public enemy and people are prepared for it. But like I built Goblins in Historic and it felt like one of the better things to be doing. Maybe not the absolute best thing, but one of the better ones for sure. Alright, now that I have 2 more non-basic lands, do I just want to go non-basics with these? I think so. I'm sorry, did you just Surgical Extraction Scalding Tarn? Alright. Morning, Pokemokey. Yeah, I'm fine with the Strix getting dazed, though, right? Because I have a Culligan's command to bring it back later. Oh. Absolutely not giving you that right now. I think it's a bad timing brainstorm. But, like, I have another removal spell for a Delver. I have another removal spell for a Whale. I'm not going to let you smooth out your hand here. I also just want to fuel my graveyard so I can cast this Gurmag Angler. Alright, second Surgical Extraction, that's fine. Now we're on the fish plan. How soon do I need to play the fish? If I play the fish now, it plays into days, but I can K-command it back. I think that's fine. Like, this only costs me 3 cards from graveyard. Alright. I'll get it back. This is probably better. I think I'll do this now. So doing this now means they have to have Force of Will or Force of Negation, and Daze and Spell Pierces don't work. Nice. Alright, Hymn to Turok's real good there. There goes my plan to get back the big fish. That was the turn where I was supposed to top deck Jace. Yep, Street Wraith would have sucked. Alright, let's find a Fatal Push or equivalent. Yes, these are very good cards. I am going to take all of them. I'll draw the sorcery one this turn, I suppose. No, I'll draw the instant one this turn. 2 mana available. No. I'll draw the sorcery one this turn. Because if they have Force of Negation as their last card, I don't want them to be able to hard cast that in their upkeep. Seems like they have a Gurmag Angler that they're paying the costs for. Ooh, Ethereal Forager instead. Alright, I said I needed to respect that card. That was accurate. Alright, my next draw is a dead draw. My next draw is a land. I really need them to not play a critter this turn. I think I just play the land that's on top of my library rather than holding it for Brainstorm. Because of him to Turok specifically. I think we have 3 Snapcasters, right? Like, pretty sure those are in the deck. This one I'll hold for Brainstorm now that I have a fetch land in play. Oh, it's okay. I'll try to flash the list on screen for you in between rounds or something. Wrong. Olothoperus, thank you very much for following. Hope you're enjoying the content. Inverted Ninja, I think I'm going to play like 4 or 5 blue decks in the next week. Just recorded with a Bant Natural Order list last night. That video is spicy. That's coming to YouTube on Monday. Oh baby. Play it now. Go. I will return Gurmag Angler. I'll do 2 damage to any target. They have Force of Negation. I'm going to make them pitch cast it. Alright, they had Force of Will. Pitching a Force of Will. At this point, a Lightning Bolt is lethal to my opponent's Dome. We've had some fun with Vial Smasher in the past. I'm not going to say the card is good, because it's not really good. But the card is fun. It's wildly inconsistent, but when it works, it works. Alright, find a Lightning Bolt. Nope. Shit. Alright, next game. Alright, on the play I want Keranos, and I also want the Pyroblast. So what does that mean is coming out? Probably Thoughtseize. Feel good about that. I feel good about that. So notably, I do only have 1 Lightning Bolt to go directly to their face, but I do have like K commands and Keranos and stuff too. I wish I had more mana, but this has double Baleful Strix, so I'm going to keep it. Jupe, thank you very much for gifting some subs to the community. I really appreciate it. This is probably getting Volcanic Island as of right now. There's a world where it doesn't get that. Yeah, the front has real text on social cost. It's not amazing or anything. Like, it's probably a suboptimal card. We'll see how it feels. We've boarded it out both rounds so far. This is so bad if I get stifled. Fuck. I have 2 castable removal spells still. This isn't the end of the world, but it's bad. But I think since my hand was, like, had weak-ish mana to start with, I do probably want to fetch to play Strix and try to make the next land drop. That's 2 games in a row that you have Surgical Extracted Scalding Tarn. Okay. Do you need either in Blue-Red Delver? Like, Blue-Red Delver is just a good deck. Do you need to get cute with things that are expensive? Like, isn't the thing that's great about Blue-Red Delver right now is you just, like, are super low to the ground, you play Sprite Dragons, you get your opponent dead, and then you send a couple bolts to their face? Pokemogi, that is correct. I think if I missed a land drop, I just concede. I have 1 lightning bolt in my deck, and you saw my deck last round. I'm losing to this. Alright. we're just gonna move on there. Alright. I'll be keeping this hand. We have Island and Ponder, and we also have Force of Will for if our opponent is playing something degenerate. I prefer hands with more mana, but this is fine. Like, I have 3 things that cantrip. Alright. I don't know how picky I get to be with that ponder. Like, it needs to find the second land, and then this ponder needs to find the third land, and so forth. Um, do it like this? Maybe I thought seas first. So my guess is my opponent is playing some sort of like Bant Miracles, Oko style deck. Alright, now I need to hit land drops. Nope. Beautiful. Yeah, fine and Andy. I am religiously restarting Moto after 3 rounds now. Yeah, no. That's worth 2 cards. I haven't had a permanent leave play for Fatal Push to be live this turn. Alkai's in, it's actually worse than it used to be, sadly. 120 ticks, worth 2 cards for sure. Yeah, these are insane. So my opponent, a couple turns back, brainstormed in a way that hid their best cards from me, but that meant that they kept all of their lands and didn't shuffle any of their lands away, leaving me with, leaving them with relatively few resources compared to me. All right. Which one? Which one? I know 2 of their 3 cards. I think it's Lily. Then I can Gurmag Angler afterwards. Well, the best sideboard card in Legacy is Carpet of Flowers. That one's easy. Best main deck card, that's harder. Like, the best card in Legacy might just default go back to something like Brainstorm. Uro is also quite good. Alright, so they have Mystic Sanctuary. Probably implies the existence of Terminus as something that I should be aware of. Orcish Lumberjack, always a fine choice for best legacy card. Warning, best may indicate most fun. I can just use Jace to bounce that next time it comes into play. Also counter it. So just to talk about something I could have done. I could have used my Lily minus this turn to clear the Brainstorm and say put back the Thoughtseize and the like a Force of Will and clear those. But I think ticking up Liliana towards ultimate is just better right now. We're just gonna take that as a tempo play. Narset is strong. I have Thoughtseize plus Narset in this turn cycle. That's fine. Stop it! Stop it! They're already dead! Nice. Oh yeah, fine and Andy. I was on autopilot there. I agree with you. I probably want some amount of like this stuff. I don't really like Lily's Triumph. I am probably going to trim on Force of Will. I don't think I like Thoughtseize. It has its worth. I like a lot of this stuff better than I like Thoughtseize. I'd probably keep Fatal Push, probably board Valky out. Valky has gotten boarded out every round. That's probably an indication that I should have just cut it from the deck. But the Spice... then I don't know what my last cut is. I can maybe go down one more Fatal Push. Or I guess go down one Fatal Push more accurately. Yeah, that's fine. But Moto is definitely in desperate need of a restart after these long games. Oh, that's a mulligan. That's a keep. I even specifically have the Claim to Dust for Uro. I think Snapcaster goes back. Lobster, you walked into my channel and the first thing you did was insult my cards. Like, what does that say about you as a person? Just saying. Like, to walk into a streamer's channel, get there, and the first thing you say is like, your art fucking sucks. Like, that does not give me a high opinion of you. I don't want that kind of shit in my channel. Like, not only does that take my focus off the game, it prompts conversations like this one. Like, someone worked very hard to make this. Lots of people enjoy this art. And you're just, all of a sudden, the arbiter of elegance, and you're the supreme arbiter of what is and isn't good art. No. I want Badlands here. The point's been made. We don't need to beat the dead horse. Like, be good to each other. Card's so good. I need to counter that. That is worth my force of negation. Like, there is just so much negativity in Magic right now, either intentionally or unintentionally, because people haven't seen each other in so long, right? People aren't getting out, they're not socializing, they're just firing off messages without thinking about it too much. So, like, one of the biggest things I try to do with my community is just, like, be positive, be good to people. I don't know if I actually want to slash need to brainstorm this turn. I want to hit that next land drop and like maybe cast a Keranos. I guess I will. It fires it into Hull Breacher. Let's not. White Eyebrow, thank you very much for following. Roro Zaza, I missed you at some point as well. I hope you're enjoying the content. I have strong opinions on planes. I really like the lightning planes. I just really enjoy that art. I think it looks spiffy. I like the recent Phyrexian themed mountain, or sorry, Phyrexian themed swamp. I don't have super strong opinions on a lot of the others. Like a lot of times I used various full art ones. Unhinged, unglued. I used a lot of those when I was playing like Miracles and Grixis Control or whatever. So like I did really like the full art ones. Now I feel they're a little bit less special because there have been more of them. Some of the like Ice Age era islands I think are pretty cool. Yeah, Guru Basics are beautiful. Alright, so that Uro's gone. I think I am going to brainstorm to hit my next land drop here. Yeah. Here we go. Zach Faden, I recorded with a brainstorm deck yesterday too. We're also playing with a blue deck tomorrow night, but I think it's a blue Chalice deck. It's a Splinter Twin deck. I forget exactly what the details look like. Oh yeah. We're doing it! Yeah, Splinter Twin is tomorrow night. Oh, 100%. Lawrence, that is exactly what I said when I put it in this deck list. The donor sent me a reasonable deck list and told me to spice it up a bit, and Keranos was my choice. Like, it gets pyroblasted, it gets dazed, like, it's too expensive for the format, but I have such, like, fond memories of playing that in the Splinter Twin era of Modern that I will never forget just, like, playing this intricate Splinter Twin mirror, like, we've exhausted resources, and then all of a sudden, like, I have this Keranos and my opponent doesn't, and, oh. Beautiful, beautiful draw. Yeah, I can't imagine the despair that happens when, like, your opponent answers the Keranos and they're like, oh, a command, make you discard a card, return Keranos. Ah! Table flip. Don't you just cycle this card? Every time I talk to Brian, he's like, yeah, you don't cast that card, you just cycle this card. For this very reason. Okay, it's totally reasonable to not cycle if they have like a fluster backup or something. Yeah, okay. I take it back. I respect your decision, sis 1072. That was good. Hello? Moto? Moto? Please? Alright, what am I doing with my life here? I just want to get my opponent dead before I get buried in sharks. So I get to attack for 2. And put the Snapcaster in play. Like, I can Snapcaster Brainstorm now. Alright, let's pretend I didn't say anything for the last 30 seconds, and I look like a smart Magic player, okay? Fuck! Alright, I guess I technically should have attacked first. I'm gonna go ahead and blow the Fatal Push on this. Get my damage in. This does put them down to 0 cards. I still have a Culligan's Command and a Cling to Dust as pseudo-draw engines. Moto memory leak here is, like, so noticeable. I'm gonna just F6 through this turn rather than, bluff the Pyroblast and such. My opponent has something, they're gonna play it. So I want my Snapcaster Mage dead. I'm just gonna pass the turn here. Like, the impetus is on them to do stuff, right? Like, they're at 7, I have Keranos in play, I have 4 power in play. They get to be the one who makes the first move here. Is there any way I can muck with these with a fetch land? Like, get to Cling to Dust that? Maybe they stack the trigger wrong. Did not stack the trigger wrong. On the back end here, I'm going to cast Cling to Dust and try to draw a blast. I'm going to make them commit the cards from their graveyard first. Alright, that was a lot of life. Maybe find an answer to Uro with this brainstorm. Oh. Alright, so now I get to fetch, Fatal Push, kill Uro, attack in for 4, Cling to Dust it. Damn. That is good. So let's put that back, and I guess Baleful Strix. I can't Liliana this turn. Just kind of... Oh, wait, no. I haven't made a land drop yet. I can Liliana this turn. Which is disgusting. Yeah, everyone loves the Keranos. Like, there's a wee bit of randomness associated with it. So, like, it's a little bit different than a Planeswalker conceptually, because you don't know which mode you're going to get. Luckily, both modes are just good. Lawrence, you could be right. I'm not going to spend the time thinking about that when, like, I'm having such bad memory leak moto lag issues, and I'm just going to, like, continuously jam cards. Well, keeping the UC let me play Liliana this turn, for one. Hello, Moto? How are we in Declare Attackers? Okay. That's not how I was going to play out this turn. I guess it is now. Yeah. Moto is a quality program. Well, all right. That's fine. We probably kill with Keranos next turn the vast majority of the time. Hexproof from blue and black. I guess only one of them does, though, so I guess I can shrink the other one for now. I clicked that already. Oh my god. Come on. I guess I'll just attack here. Honestly, I probably should have just attacked pre-combat. And not given them a chance to convert a counterspell into a deuter. So I think the way I was supposed to play this turn was attack before doing Lily. That way I could have brought back Snapcaster Mage or Baleful Strix if my opponent did stuff. Alright, that sets it up so that a Lightning Bolt is on top of my library and a Lightning Bolt is in my hand. Yeah, maybe I have to reboot every other game while playing Grixis Control, since, like, the games just last longer. Alright, good. Now we restart Moto. Alright, I don't love this opening hand. It has a Force of Negation for unfair stuff. It has a Lightning Bolt for fair stuff, but I have no cantrips to build. I have no Baleful Strix or anything for the mid-game. I don't know if this one is a mulligan or not, but it feels borderline. I am going to keep it, assuming that most of my draws improve this hand. But I could, like, very easily see just, like, a Thoughtseize punching a hole in what I've got here, and then, like, I flop around and do nothing. Elves? Yo, this is a legit forest. An odd one. Speaking of odd, guess I grab Badlands here so I can Strix on 2 and Lightning Bolt on 1. Ah, this is what this program is supposed to feel like, huh? Just like nice and snappy. I had forgotten. So I have a Force of Negation, and this Jace the Mind Sculptor, unfortunately, probably gets pitched to it because I need to counter a Glimpse or a Natural Order. Oh no! This card is so good! When I was, oh man. This is bad, chat. We're so dead. Oh, fuck me. Again. Um, so if my opponent rips a Gaia's Cradle, like, I fold over and die. And I can't remove the Allosaurus Shepherds until I remove Wirewood Symbiote. I don't think I have a Deluge main. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, can't play Angler this turn. So, I haven't talked about this a lot, but I think Elves is really good right now. Specifically, I like Julian's build. So not the Elvish Reclaimer land utility based build, but the get them dead with a pile of Allosaurus Shepherds and meaningful spells build. Like, being able to take the pressure that the Delver decks put off you by ignoring their dazes and Force of Wills, ignoring Chalice of the Void, ignoring the counter spells from the control decks, and being a finisher at 1 mana. Like, this card does so much. This card is worth its $50-ish price tag on Magic Online for sure. Alright. We dead now? Feels like we're dead now. Can't be countered. We'll take a look at the hoof, just make sure it's not in their hand or something. Yeah. So, like, I was super excited about Destiny Spinner when it was printed. And, like, very happy about that. And then they got a little carried away and pushed Destiny Spinner a little bit harder. Alright. Leg Engineers, Deluge, K-Command, Abrade. I'll probably play Thoughtseize, maybe Narset, question mark, maybe Keranos. Let's start in the other direction with this and figure out what I don't want. I do not want Cling to Dust. Valky good enough? Doesn't permanently take the card, and its body is small. Let's assume Valky's not good enough. I feel so awkward about the Force of Wills and Force of Negations in this matchup because of Allosaurus Shepherd. Like, you want those cards to stop Glimpse and Force of Will, but a lot of times they don't do their job. Like, that's what I encountered last night, is just, like, I did not have the ability to use my counter spells against this deck. And it used to be that your Force of Wills allowed you to buy time until your removal engines could come online and you could pick off all the creatures, and that's much less true now. Maybe I can't protect Narset well enough to use Narset as a way to shut down their engines. Maybe I trim Chase. Yeah, my endgame here probably involves like Snapcaster K command loops more than anything else. Junk one Jace. I need these cards in for sure. Honestly, like if I make it to the point where I get to tap out for something big and dumb, Keranos removes cards from the table and Jace doesn't really do that. This is 61. How am I feeling about these Thought Seizes? I like Thoughtseize on the play. Let's in fact go to one more. I don't feel like my sideboarding is optimal here. I'm just so confused about what I am supposed to be doing with my counter spells here that I'm not confident in what my plan is. If I played this matchup a few times with this deck, I feel like I could figure it out. But I don't know that I have enough 1-mana removal spells to really consistently use Force of Negation and Force of Will for their intended purposes. Blue, black. Hot damn. Yeah. I'm unsure if I want the Brainstorm. That's the third card down. Magic VCF. Thank you very much for following. If Wirewood Symbiote attacks, I will probably trade a Naked Snapcaster for it, considering that I have double Plague Engineer for the Elves. Alright, so I'll get rid of the Brainstorm that's on top. Of a Volk. Just very happy to trade 1 for 1 right now when I have Plague Engineer. Oh, baby. Now we're bullying. Do I need red for any reason? No. I can just grab another Underground Sea. What are they tapping for? Yeah, sure. Triad? Alright. Like, I don't pass up on that, right? It's just so good. Yeah, that's an okay point to concede, I think. That's fair. I I don't know if I should board in one more Thoughtseize on the draw, just because it's so important to take an early green sun that on turn 2 could get Allosaurus Shepherd. I think I want this over a little bit more of my endgame. Like between Strix, K Command loops, Lily Keranos, Angler, I think that's like this is still enough to finish the game. I think. I'm not 100% certain, but I feel good enough about this that I'm willing to click submit. I'm a little mana light on this hand. I have to ponder on turn 1 to hit land drops. I think I'll still keep this. Marius, Croxa was in the original list that the donor sent me, and I cut them. I don't really think Croxa is a playable legacy card. Like, I have tried. But basically every league that I have played with Croxa, it has been awful. Like, it's hard to cast. It's not particularly good either. I'm quite down on that card. Alright, Force of Will does nothing. And that was my best card in this hand. Well, alright. Plan has changed now that I drew that swamp. My opponent only has 3 cards left. That's fine. It's good, but it's fine. Same. Since I have Force of Will available, I'm okay with just playing a Strix. Oh, baby. That on Insect is going to be so good, and we have Force of Will to make it through this turn. My opponent only has 2 cards. Yeah, I've tried Croxa in Pox. I've tried Croxa in Control. Absolutely not. I'm just taking my 2 for 1 here. It's a 2 for 1 that also denies them 2 mana. Yeah, that's fair. To go back. We can't keep a Badlands only hand. This one has to go back. We can't keep a Swamp only hand. This hand is not great, but we're on 5. Let's assume that I'm fighting against a fair deck and pitch this and pitch 1 land. I just don't think I can keep a pitch counter on 5. I'm not sure what I'm hoping to play against here. Him to Turok. Demon, Hymn to Torok is reasonable. Sure. Counterspell's so good for my opponent here, though. But this could just be a blue loam deck. In which case they don't have counters. Nice. If this is a loam deck, I might actually have time to, like, draw out of my mulligan. Hymn to Torok is a great, powerful card advantage thing. Oh god, another one. Being put to the test here. Let's try to answer that immediately. Nope. I can answer it next turn with Snapcaster, though. If my opponent doesn't play another creature, and I guess that is a reasonable if. Alright, that's a third blue land. I don't know that my opponent is blue loam anymore. Like, that's not one of the decks that immediately pops to my mind anymore with this mana base. In the 4-color loam builds, the blue is often, like, color 4 in terms of priority. I just need to keep a second creature off the table here so my Edict can answer Bob. This is just gonna get, like, dazed or something, but like, every turn that Bob sticks around is just so good. Oh, great. It worked. Now, I'm still feeling the sting of my mulligan a little bit. I'm down 2 cards, and my opponent is up some cards from Dark Confidant. Okay, that's good for me. Yep. Let's ponder for Cling to Dust or die. Or 5 Tarmogoyf too. I mean, Fatal Push is good. I am going to cast Baleful Strix first. And this makes me significantly worse against Daze, but allows me to potentially find Cling to Dust and answer Uro, which is also just a huge problem. F. Does Fatal Push now need to be saved for Uro instead of Tarmogoyf? Yes. I think opponent is going to outvalue me. Hyperlink, thank you very much for your continued support of the stream. Okay, opponent has decided to ponder first. That's reasonable. So my opponent is going to get a card off of Uro and a little bit of life. They'll attack in with Tarmogoyf, maybe. They attack in with Tarmogoyf, that gives me the revolt I need. But they don't, so I don't have revolt for Fatal Push this turn. SK command not looking great. No, that's not what I want. Alright, I want return target creature, target player discards a card. Return target creature, target player discards a card. The discarding a card part is not particularly good. Oh wow, we got a Force Negation for that? I didn't even think that spell was particularly good, but okay. Grumpy, old man, thank you very much for following. Alright, hyperlink. The rest of the video will end up on YouTube later, or you can watch the replay on Twitch as well. Oh, that's so good. But that happening pre-combat means I can just Fatal Push this now so they don't get the attack. Ugh. That was so good. Oh, I'm dead. Next game. So, Darkview, I heavily disagree with you. My opponent was at, what, 24 life? They would take 2 from a Snapcaster Mage. If I'm attacking with that Snapcaster into 2 bodies, like, something is up and that's a trap. And I potentially want to be able to block with the Snapcaster Mage on their turn to save some life. I don't think that Snapcaster Mage attack is good. Alright, so my red removal is going to look a little bit bad here, but I probably need it because of Bob. I want Plague Engineer for the Death Touch and the ability to take Bobs off the table. I want Keranos. I probably need to play Toxic Deluge, despite the fact that it's going to sting. Probably need more of these. All right, let's form a plan. All right, Valky, you weren't good enough for this deck. I'm sorry. Like, sorry, bud. Get out. Let's assume the life loss is too much if I'm going to bring in that Deluge. I want to go down some number of Force of Wills. If I take this stuff, that puts me at 60, and then I haven't brought in any Pyroblasts or Flusterstorms. Maybe Narset isn't great versus an Abrupt Decay deck. That can give me a Pyroblast. Something sort of like this is reasonable. Oh. Nope. That mana doesn't work. This is good. Yeah, the Lightning Bolt is... Like, I need to respect Bob's and probably Delver's too, since they showed me days. So, like, having the early removal is important. I'm just gonna play this. If it gets dazed, it gets dazed. But I need to find stuff. Oh, that's quite good. Oh no. Okay, well. I think that's reasonable. Like, Blood Moon is a fine card right now. Like, it definitely helps against the Uro piles that are trying to get blue, blue, green, green somewhat consistently. Alright, I don't mind that. You discard a card, 2 damage to this target. Please don't discard an Uro. That's fine. I'll do it again on my turn. Ooh, baby. You discard a card, 2 damage to any target. Alright, we got an Underground Sea for our troubles. Yeah, Lily Last Hope has just been fine this league. Not amazing, but fine. Like, when you play a Lily and your opponent has a Tarmogoyf or something like that, like, you're a little bit outmatched. And sometimes it, like, Lily feels a little restrictive in terms of timing. I don't super care about this. Like, my 3K commands are in the graveyard already. Oh, God. Alright. Keranos is the better card if it resolves, but I can play Jace around Daze this turn, so I'm going to play Jace around Daze this turn. The hope is I play Jace. Jace either resolves or gets countered using some of my opponent's resources. And then I actually stick Keranos. And sticking a Keranos when my opponent is at 9 probably finishes the game. I will be happy enough shuffling away those lands. My opponent casts a discard spell. I can also just brainstorm and put Keranos on top. That's a little awkward. Go ahead and brainstorm in response to that. I mean, better that get dazed than the Keranos. Come on, buddy. Yeah. Alright. So now do I want to attack with Strix for 1 and bounce Leovold? I think so. So the thing is that Keranos is also going to trigger Leovold, so I think it's better to just keep playing this Leovold game where I make my opponent recast it, and that eats their entire turn. And if they're eating their entire turn, they're not dealing with these 3 cards, all of which are a problem right now. Alright, I guess this can just kill the Leovold then, instead of go face. I think I'm good with drawing a Fatal Push. I want to Brainstorm now, it leaves me with 1 mana. No. But I will probably Snapcast or Brainstorm on my opponent's end step to just put another creature in play. One, two, three, four. So you need 7 devotion. We have 2 from Keranos, 3, 4, 5, 6. Actually, this is 7, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Actually, I don't think I want a Snapcaster now. If I turn on Keranos and then, like, Keranos dies or something, it would be weird and sad. Alright, my opponent's just done with me. Okay, cool. I don't think anything I saw changes what I want to do here. We are living the grindy life though, for sure. Yeah, I can't keep these hands without blue mana. This one goes back. There's no cantrip here. I have to mulligan to 5. I want to hit my land drops. If I hit my land drops, my big powerful spells can keep me alive. Alright, I have a turn 2 Baleful Strix and a turn 3 Baleful Strix. That's nice. I have a turn 2 Baleful Strix. Now I'll have to think about whether or not I want to play it around days. Nope, no time. We go now. And if they have the days, they have the days. But this is just so much pressure. I can't potentially take 6 next turn. Like, okay, thank God. All right, that's also very good. Oh no. All right, I am taking 6 this turn. All right. So I have Snapcaster and Grath's Rampage next turn. So that can potentially answer this Insectile Aberration. Arkin, thank you very much for hosting. Hope your stream went well. For everyone tuning in, I'm Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU. We are in Game 3 of Grixis Control versus Bug Uro Delver. I like it. I'm going to try to K-command this Delver. I think. We're going to go to my opponent's upkeep and make them use some mana on their turn. Try to return a Strix and shoot this. Oh, it worked. Nice. Okay. So you're telling me there's a chance. My opponent has 2 cards left. I have 2 Snapcasters and 2 removal spells in graveyard. And a Plague Engineer to Death Touch away something. We're looking to dodge something like an Uro here. Like Uro and Sylvan Library are the worst sort of things that can happen. We have Bob covered. We have Bob covered really well. But I'm just not set up to find Cling to Dust quickly if my opponent like has Uro this turn and can bring it back next turn. Yeah, they have Bob and Library. Yeah, that's fine. This isn't each player or target player? Target player. Okay. I mean, that gives them another card, but... Alright. Basic or non-basic? I want black for Lily. I want blue for Snapcaster Brainstorm, or Brainstorm into blue card. Take blue. Get a basic. Ah, it's a good days. The Elf Advisor gets us for now. Oh no. So now that I've used the Angar's Rampage and they have another creature on board, I have no way to answer this arrow currently. I have to Death Touch it away, which is awkward. Yeah, we still have Clings. I'm gonna need to unlock my cantrips, I guess. Leovold also doing some work against me. I have 2 Force of Fill. I guess I could have not played Plague Engineer, Lightning Bolted Leovold, Brainstorm to look for the 2 of Cling. I think the downside of the Delver flipping there is really high, since I'm at 8. And I should just give them a card off Uro and hope to answer it and then remove it. It doesn't feel good. But I think I need Brainstorm gone, and I also need them to not draw more cards off Leovold. They also just have so much life right now. Life from the loam. Green Ancestral Visions. Alright. Jace bounce, attack for 5. Alright. Don't daze me. Don't daze me. Woo! So my opponent can get a lot of card advantage between, like, Uro and that Life from the Loam. Uro allows them to put those lands into play. But maybe I can just close this one out. I do also just have Snapcaster Lightning Bolt. But, like, Lightning Bolt is just, like, undoing one Uro trigger. So, not the best. Brainstorm puts those lands back in the deck from Life from the Loam too. Oh, the synergy. Opponent's deck is sweet. Loud Himura, thank you very much for following. Hope you're enjoying the content. From the Ashes would be legit. Dobby Tata, 420, thank you very much for following as well. Alright, let's find Cling to Dust with Jace's ability this turn. Also, how many fetchables does my opponent actually have left? It's 3 drop, 3 Underground Sea, 1 Bayou. I wonder if this fetches a land. It does not. Valk goes back. I think Force of Negation goes back. This fetches basic Swamp. Brainstorm looking for Cling. Damn. Alright, that's not good. I already played my land, right? I already played my land. Valky has been sideboarded out every round. We have not cast Valky. So it's not like Valky has done poorly, necessarily. Like, Valky has not done anything wrong. However, like, we're boarding Valky out every round because, like, conceptually it hasn't lined up well against anything. Oh, damn it. Well, okay, I guess I only lose 1 body to that. But it's not good for me. Yeah, the Troll Fit video was excellent. Honestly, a lot of the leagues from recent times have been really good. Alright. I am going to go ahead and brainstorm with Jace now. I know the top card. Well, I could just bounce the Uro. And maybe I have to just bounce the Uro. I know my top card is a land. Kind of like having both of these in hand. Let's see what happens with this. Nothing happened. Good God. Alright. So I have to fetch a non-basic with this. I'm gonna keep both of my creatures back in an attempt to protect my Jace. But in the Uro versus Jace fight here, my opponent is pulling ahead. I'm having to use Jace for not card advantage. Yeah, back to basics would be good. Blood Moon from the ashes. Please don't have a second Abrupt Decay. So I have to trade away my body here. Meaning that my opponent gets Uro on an empty board, and this time Jace can't just, like, minus. Oh, those things sure don't get answered by Force of Negation. Alright, this Jace Brainstorm and my draw step, like, have to be good. Hey. Where's Cling to Dust? Nope. Yeah, eat the yard before they exile is fair. Could technically eat my artifacts. Make Tarmogoyf smaller. But this... Okay, I guess the Uro's in their hand, though. They pitched the Uro? What? If it's not your turn. Alright. They have another Uro, like, damn. Okay, Abrupt Decay doesn't do anything all that impressive right now. And Delver does not flip. Please don't have another Uro. F. They did have another Uro. Alright, so it makes sense why they pitched that one. I've been looking so hard for Cling to Dust. I just can't find it. Min was right way at the beginning of the stream. We need Cling to Dust. Alright, will they throw away a body for a Jace? Yeah, opponent didn't, like, cast the Uro while they had priority, so if I had a Cling to Dust or something, I could definitely take advantage of it. Yeah, like Uro is very good by Legacy standards, and for a lot of the smaller formats, it is too good. Uh, oh, maybe I should have played the Volcanic Island so that I could Force of Negation protect that. Alright, I am straight up hoping that the Delver does not flip. Then Jace gets attacked for 1. Ah, shit, it flipped. And a Force of Will at that, so my Force of Negation is probably dead. We're fighting the good fight here, but I'm just like slipping further and further behind here. I am also just at 6, so my opponent could just go to my face and ignore Jace too. Very slow sync. Like, we're fighting real hard against this Uro. If I Fate Seal, it leaves the Uro in play, and then I get attacked for 6. I don't know. I like gambling on the Delver not flipping. Like, I need to high roll. Like, I need the highest of high rolls in order to get out of this, like, awful spot that I'm in. I have 2 Jace the Mind Sculptors in my graveyard. I've gotten them down to the point where they have 0 cards in graveyard. No. Yeah, they only have 7 cards in hand now. That's good. Alright. We're so dead. Yeah, like, they're at the point where they can Force of Will a 2-1. That's very telling. Alright. I think we fought the good fight for long enough here. I'm gonna go ahead and throw in the towel. GG's. Alright, so we end up with a 3-2 finish. And I think this deck is okay, but I would not recommend it to anyone. Like, the deck is doing powerful things, but it's slow to finish games. It has problems with Uro, and between those 2 factors, I think that's enough to make me say, like, if you want to be playing Control, you shouldn't be playing this. Like, the recurring nature of Uro, while it also cantrips, is just so good if you're a control mage that I think the default color combination right now is probably Bant or, like, maybe Bug. Like, what our opponent was doing was totally cool, too. But I think if you want to be a controlling mage right now, you need to either be thinking about playing Uro yourself, or you need to have good answers to Uro. And as we saw there, we did not have good answers to Uro. Keranos felt really good today, though. Like, it's a little expensive and overcosted, but, like, it got us some wins, and it was very good, very sticky once it hit the battlefield. Um, I'd be willing to throw down with that card again for sure. All right, it is definitely lunchtime for me. I am a hungry boy. So for those of you who watched this on YouTube, please throw me a like or a comment or something if you made it this far. It supports my content and helps me out a lot. And if you want to see one of your own decks on YouTube or Twitch, the donation information is always in the video.